Fucking rip it. Welcome back to Lombardi Sweep. We're starting the show on a somber note because the Packer season's officially over. However, every new beginning comes from some other beginning's end, as Semisonic once said. And Joe Barry's fired. So in a way, the Packers year just started. Welcome back. And it feels good. What?
How long have we done the show and we've been saying Joe Barry should be fired since day one?
Since day one, yeah. Yep. I know. That, by the way, now the tone of the show can shift.
Right.
You thought I was negative. I wasn't. I just didn't want him here. And now I can just be positive. Now we're good. We're good to go.
Go ahead, Trevor.
You know what the funniest part was? This is the one time when I've been the least negative on Joe Barry.
Yeah, he kind of didn't deserve to be fired. But
against the Vikings, 10 points. Bears, 9 points. Cowboys, until that fourth when it was already over, 16 points, and the defense scored. Against 49ers, 24. And again, we'll get into it. Darnell Savage makes that pick six. The game's over.
Yeah.
I will say, too, just back to everyone who's listening, we thank you, everyone who's listening. To the people who have been listening since day one, we may have the same conversation as day one of who should be our next defense coordinator.
Basically, yeah.
I think the same names may be repeated.
Yeah. It's not the one that I think a lot of people want was offered the job. I can't imagine people like somebody every time they're like, really? Like the Packers did such a good job at covering it up that it's like no one even knew Jim Leonard was offered the job, declined it, and then the Packers panic hired Joe Barry to cover it up. Everything else sort of makes sense at this point. Sort of is what it is. But let's just go over that news, I guess. So Wednesday morning of us recording here, Joe Barry, Packers officially part ways. Adam Schefter comes out, and as much as I hate Adam Schefter, his reputation for me has gone down this year. Like, I think every time I hear him speak, it's pretty evident that he actually knows nothing.
Right.
He kind of just waits for news to be broken and then he says it. However, so if you like him, then here you go. He thinks Joe Barry could keep a job with the Packers in some capacity. So it wouldn't be a firing. It would be moving to a different position in a very similar way that it was advertised for Pete Carroll losing his job, I guess. And even Pete Carroll said that wasn't true. And they were giving him the respect of that, essentially, I think. Not trying to say he got fired. But Joe Barry, this is his third defensive coordinator job, should have been fired, the day after he was hired. I don't know why we're giving him the respect of that.
0-60 with the Lions, by the way.
Yeah. I mean, he's terrible every stop of the way. You can go to Let's Go Wisconsin, Let's Go WY.com. There's an article talking about how his finishes were for his 3 years with the Packers, as well as 5 names that I threw out there for possible defensive coordinator hires. And we'll go over those and any other ones we have ideas for. But so essentially Joe Barry out, according to Schefter, could be in a different position on the Packers. If that's the case, then it sounds like Joe Barry was in on the conversation for him to lose his job, which tells me he wasn't fired, which makes me hate Matt LaFleur even more. Yep. However, I mean, if Joe Barry fired himself, like I could have less respect for everybody else around there. But if he did get fired, then whatever. But from what I think in here, it sort of sounds like, well, said this at the beginning of the season that Joe Barry was going to be made the scapegoat. So as you said, Trevor, for what he's done, honestly, he doesn't really deserve to be fired for the past month. Doesn't mean he deserves to have the job, but he didn't deserve to be fired.
Like the defense showed up when it mattered.
It did. But he's being made the scapegoat. So is what it is. Bye-bye. If he was kept, that would have been viewed as a Matt LaFleur decision. And then if the same thing repeated last year, not only would Joe Barry be fired, I think Matt LaFleur knew his ass would be on the hot seat as well. So I think this is a way of sort of saving his job a little bit. Regardless, third defensive coordinator during the Matt LaFleur tenure now, and we shall see who he hires this time. Last time he hired his friend after offering the job to Jim Leonard. Jim Leonard didn't really do anything in terms of getting a different coaching job this offseason. He spent the last year in Illinois. So certainly makes sense and is a worth, it's a valid connection to say Jim Leonard now that he knows he's not going to take the Wisconsin head coaching job, there's a pretty good chance he would come back to Wisconsin where he's been anyway. What?
You think so?
To which part?
Wisconsin. Come back to Wisconsin.
The Badgers?
Well, what? Yeah. Wisconsin or Green Bay. You think he wants to come back to Wisconsin?
Yes. He's kept his family here.
Okay.
Like he didn't want to leave. His dream job was the Wisconsin head coaching position, which he was getting groomed for. Then he got passed over. So that the whole reason why he denied the Packers job was to take the Badgers head coaching job someday. But then that process was expedited. Alvarez was out the door, yada, yada, yada. But now I think there's a decent chance Jim Leonard's at least offered an interview again. And if the Packers wanted to hire him in the first place before, pretty good shot they're just going to give him, the first option to be hired this time again. Could be wrong, but I don't know. How would you guys feel with Jim Leonard coming back to Wisconsin to do that?
So I've been in Green Bay today around the bars after and bar talk, whatever. But after Joe Barry got fired, a lot of people don't want Jim Leonard, citing the lack of NFL experience.
I think that's stupid. That's a terrible decision. Okay. Like that's a terrible reason. I think he was a coach while a player.
Sure.
Everyone who talks about him he is one of the smartest football players of all time.
Okay.
He was the signal caller from the safety position. Obviously played under Rex Ryan. Super smart. Yeah, I think that's I think that's not there's reasons to not want him. That's not it.
Okay.
I think.
Okay.
For me, I'm a vindictive asshole. So there's no rhyme or reason behind this. I'm kind of in the mindset of like, fuck you, you didn't want it before. Like, let's look somewhere else. I also think part of that is like, there are guys I want more than him. Like, I don't think it's going to happen. I think he lands a head coaching job. But like, if we're talking about perfect that I would take, it's Vrabel. Again, he's going to take a head coaching job. So I don't think he's going to be there, but he'd be great. It's never going to happen, but Rex Ryan would be great. I think Al Harris would be a better fit. Ron Rivera, say what you want. Defensively, I think he could do a decent job maybe. Again, where does he end up? I don't know. But, look, not only has he had his chance, but I think this is a pretty good cycle, all things considered. If the Packers move quick enough and actually have an interview process to get somebody good, I think it's better prospects out there than last time. So I say kind of move on. But, knowing LaFleur, I wouldn't be surprised if he goes to one of his buddies or goes back to Leonard.
Yeah, I think, I would assume LaFleur and Goot kind of look at the defense and say the weakness of the defense is the secondary. Yep. And they bring in, someone who really knows secondary to come in and teach it. So Leonard fills that. Al Harris fills that. I personally believe Jim Leonard's miles ahead than Al Harris, but that's just me. We don't know what Al Harris's scheme and philosophy and everything will be. Obviously, we haven't seen him run a defense, but I assume it would be very, very different. If Jim Leonard's in there, he's going to be blitzing fucking every down. Like, he's so aggressive in the best way possible. He's like a very much training the D-backs to tackle guy. It would look almost similar to an Aaron Glenn defense mixed with a Rex Ryan defense, I think, which I don't hate. Al Harris, I don't know. Maybe he'd run like a Dan Quinn type thing. I have no idea. But yeah, I don't hate either of them. Who would your preference be between Al Harris and Leonard then, Luke?
Like, it's hard for me not to say Al Harris, right? But I get either way. And maybe I'm reading into the, like you said, Zach, the dumb take, but like Al Harris has played, like I guess Jim Leonard's played in the league. I don't know. I'm with Al Harris here.
Jim Leonard may have played in the league longer than Al Harris.
Yeah, you're right.
I think he might have.
Yeah, he was there for a while. Yeah, I think both are worthy of getting the nod. Like, I don't think, both of them have had a ton of success at what they've done. The next one I have written down, obviously we've talked about it before, Wink Martindale. Didn't agree with Dayball. They butted heads a lot. He is now a free agent coach. He comes from that same Rex Ryan system as Leonard. I love Wink. He's a mad scientist. He is the biggest asshole of all time in the best way possible. Psychopath. Players coach, though. His players love him. His philosophy and scheme only works if he has really good man coverage corners. They got Jair. I think he would be he would have to be in the room to draft the cornerback he wants in the first 2 rounds. If Gutekunst doesn't do that, I think the defense would be fucked. But if he gets his say, I think he could actually run a decent defense here. The issue is, does he butt heads with LaFleur? I think LaFleur is passive enough and is a beta, whereas Dayball isn't. So I think it would be a co-head coach situation, to be honest.
Yeah, you hit it on the head. Like, say what you want about LaFleur. He's a bottom, right? That's just who he is as a person. If Wink yells at him, he's gonna pull a Michael Scott, like in The Office when Stanley yelled at Michael and he had to take him into a separate room and say, like, don't do that to me. Like, that's who LaFleur is. So it could work, but like LaFleur is not strong enough to go up to Wink Martindale. Like, Wink Martindale could be viewed as the head coach more than LaFleur himself,
which isn't a bad thing, honestly.
Does that clash with Rich Bisaccia being viewed as a head coach right now?
No, I think we've seen from like the most successful staffs in recent years, like as much head coaching experience as you can have on your staff or like those true leaders, I think the better.
Yeah.
And I don't think Wink is going to come in and have anything to say about the offense, right? Yeah. Like, I think it's going to be truly a John Gruden-esque relationship. I say that just because he kind of started it, where he is the head coach, but he is the head offensive coach, and then he has a defensive head coach. And I think it would be the same thing with LaFleur and Wink, LaFleur and Wade Phillips. If something like that happened, I don't think he's leaving his job to do that. But you know what I mean? There's other situations around the NFL, similar thing. McVay and insert defensive coordinator, Shanahan and insert defensive coordinator. It's always been that.
Yeah, to your point, like the Rams won a Super Bowl and McVay and Wade Phillips being coaches. Being head coaches.
Right. Yeah. I mean, yeah, that's the way to do it, kind of. Especially if your head coach is calling plays, which probably shouldn't do, but it is what it is.
You guys know my answer for defense. Like, I still want Rex Ryan. I was at the bar today. I'm like talking to people. I'm like, Rex Ryan would be right here, right with us right now if he was defense coordinator. It'd be incredible.
It'd be insane. It would be insane. Packers will not pay him enough money.
Yeah,
but it would be awesome. Him and Rob fucking tearing down every bar. Incredible. Yes, for sure. Next name, I have a few more names. So like I said, I have Al Harris. I have Ron Rivera again. I think if he wants to keep coaching, he takes a coordinator job or he takes a consultant job, probably consultant. But if he wants to concentrate solely on defense, that'd be awesome.
In that same vein, let me ask you, what about Jack Del Rio? Has anyone made a call out to him?
No.
Why not?
I think his politics are getting in the way.
Whatever.
Yeah. I agree. I think I separate football from everything else always. Yeah. But and by the way, I don't think he would get many or much pushback from the people of Green Bay.
Right.
So I think that would be fine. But he should get calls, and it would be interesting if it was Ron Rivera, defensive coordinator, Jack Del Rio, linebackers coach, something like that. Create a defensive super staff. That'd be super fun. The name I think that would probably surprise people that I put is Greg Schumann. And again, I don't think he wants to come to the NFL yet. However, Packers keep drafting a bunch of Georgia players who suck, right?
Yeah.
Like they just don't pan out. It's probably because of the coaching. So why wouldn't we take the defensive coordinator from Georgia? Like, I think that makes sense. He's 33 right now. I think he's 34 in March or, before next season. This guy is so fascinating. I think he's going to be a superstar. He didn't play any football. So at 18 years old, he was a student assistant for Nick Saban immediately. And he was just there for like 5 years. And then he went to Kirby Smart and has been there since. He was a co-defensive coordinator for like 4 years. Last year was his first time. This past season was his first time as full defensive coordinator. And obviously, I mean, he's coaching superstars over there. But Georgia's defense has been rock solid. And at 33 years old, I think he kind of fits the LaFleur staff a little bit. And I think he relates to guys, and he knows some of the guys who he needs to get more from, like Quay Walker. I think he's an interesting guy to call. I know the Eagles, I think, reached out to him, and I think he denied it. You know, does that mean he doesn't want to coach Jalen Carter? I don't know. But I don't think he wants to come to the NFL, but I think he's worth checking on.
I think it's more because Sirianni's a douche, but...
Is Sirianni a douche?
Yes, but he's a football guy. I like him.
He's a lovable douche, but he's a douche.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I mean, yeah, he's a douche, but I do like him. It's crazy that people really were pushing for him to get fired.
Yeah, crazy. You were in the Super Bowl last year.
Yeah, relax. Now they're cleaning house, kind of, but yeah, weird.
I have a couple fun names.
Okay.
Greg Schiano.
I do like that would be great as defensive coordinator.
What's his name? Greg Williams, the Bounty Gate scandal guy.
Yeah, his defense is fucking hit. I do like him a lot. Yep. Not a joke.
I don't think they would pull him away from the Rams, but Raheem Morris would be fun.
Yeah. And, you know, people will point to how his defense ranked this year. He really wasn't coaching anybody. So I like him. I don't think he would. Maybe he'd come just because the Packers have a lot more, talent. Right. Jeff Fisher would be great.
Always Jeff Fisher.
That would be great.
You at least got 7 wins.
He's a good coach, man.
I've been thinking about for the last hour. I'm really like Rex Ryan's my number one, but Greg Schiano would be fun as hell.
We just need a guy.
Right.
We need someone who can control a fucking room, and he's gonna bring his attitude is gonna be on the field. That's what we need.
I'll never stop saying Lovey for defense coordinator either.
I love Lovey Smith.
Yeah, I agree.
I want Lovey Smith to never step foot on a football field again.
That's too much. Lovey
trust me, I'm saving him from himself. Lou Holtz would be great. He can get like a Depend sponsorship. That'd be great.
Lovey Smith should be hired by the Bears again. He never should have been fired there.
I mean, no, I disagree with that too. I wouldn't mind Marvin Lewis. That's a name of somebody who was around for way too long. He's a really, really good coach.
Yeah, I agree, Zach. How much money do you think it would take to get Jim Schwartz away from Philadelphia?
I fucking love Jim Schwartz. He's Cleveland.
Cleveland, yeah.
He's a psychopath. Right?
Yes, he is. There's no way. Like, no. He's got Myles Garrett. You don't leave Myles Garrett.
That's fair.
What are you talking about? We have Rashawn Gary. They're the same player.
Yeah. Can the Packers ask for the money back yet? They're going to restructure his deal right away, but
they have to.
Yeah, but boy, I don't. It's not even like he didn't earn it, or like he didn't perform well. He wasn't on the field.
Yeah,
since he signed an extension
in the playoff push. Other than Devondre Campbell, who just didn't play football, Rashawn Gary may have been the worst player on the Packers.
He's not good. Like Rashawn, you won't hear this because you blocked me last time I said that you weren't good. You're not good. He's bad against the run, and then he's a bull rush defensive end who doesn't play the run well. So then if he plays a power tackle, they stop him. That's it. That's his whole thing.
Who would have thought giving top 5 money to a guy who's never had 10 fucking sacks in a season before was a bad idea?
Trevor, he gets
I know sacks aren't everything, but dear God.
He gets pressures. That's really worked out well in his career.
By the way, yeah, he's the hurry master of the past. He's gotten 1 hurry in 3 of the past 5 games. 1. Like he's not even making an impact.
Can't wait.
Like,
can't wait to be in cap hell in 2 years with him.
It's insane. By the way, Joe Barry, the worst thing he's ever done, said Rashawn Gary is the greatest player he's ever coached.
Yep.
It's the greatest defensive player he's ever seen. And it was the worst thing he's ever done. It was the funniest thing he ever said. I cried laughing because I'm like, what are we doing? I was like, felt like I was getting gaslit. It didn't make any sense. So stupid.
I think he coached DeAndre Levy, right? Joe Barry.
Yeah,
I know I know they're kind of different positions, but I'm still taking DeAndre Levy 10 times out of 10.
I'm a big DeAndre Levy guy.
Bro,
he was my favorite linebacker for a while.
I'm thinking fucking Mike Neal over Rashawn Gary.
I'm taking Preston Smith over him. And I'll take Packers Preston Smith over him.
I'm taking
not even Washington Preston Smith over him.
Yeah, I was gonna say Washington had some dogs on that team too.
Yes.
I'm taking goddamn Frank Zombo over Rashawn Gary.
Hey, Frank Zombo had a Super Bowl fumble recovery. People forget about that.
That's true. That is true. But yeah, last game, Rashawn Gary had a full sack. Thanksgiving.
Oh.
What a time. What a time to be alive. It's been a minute.
2 months ago.
Yeah. Great game.
Yep.
He had a great game. Should have more of those. I'm gonna read an article about just his percentage of snap played every game.
Yep.
Because it's not very high at all. He's not an every down guy. He's not good against the run. He's not good on third downs. So what is he?
Good in first and longs.
I guess. I don't know. He's
Sometimes.
good. He's good to give Van Ness a breather or Enigbare a breather. That's his best trait. And it's incredible. I don't get it. Do not get it. I mean, we can transition this. I mean, he's not one of those players, I suppose, but I know, Luke, before the show, you said you had some players that should not be back next year.
Yeah, I do.
Can we guess? Like,
Sure.
like you tell us the position and stuff, and then we each give a guess.
I don't even want a position. How many do you got?
3.
Okay. Trevor, do you want first pick or do you want me to go first?
You can go first.
Anders Carlson.
Yep.
Okay.
Devondre Campbell.
Yep.
Number 3, AJ Dillon.
Yep. Those are the 3 that I want off my team.
All right.
Okay.
Pretty fucking simple.
Yep.
I'm glad we're on the same pitch.
Yep.
I'm sure there's others, but yeah,
those are the top 3 that should not be playing for the green and gold next year.
Yeah.
I think the best thing, and I get we have a lot of time, clearly. You brought in a kicker for a kicking competition that's, 13 of 24 from 40 plus? That's going to work in the NFL.
No kicker should be on a team that hasn't had 5 years experience in the NFL.
If you've ever had a season of below 50% made,
gone.
Including high school,
Gone.
No, there's no point. Anders Carlson, I've seen some stats people have found today. Not that we said it on draft night or anything, but apparently Anders Carlson wasn't very good in college.
Dude.
I'm not sure if you guys knew that we talked about. I can't wait for people to find out he wasn't good in high school. I assume we find that out next year, but he wasn't, by the way.
And of course, there's tons of plays that Packers could have back, whatever, in that San Francisco game. But when Anders Carlson was drafted, the day we talked about it, I said, I am going to be so fucking pissed if a rookie kicker fucks up in the playoffs. And that's exactly what happened. No fucking shit that was going to happen.
Yeah, we said it every time, though. It's like when we need it most, he's going to lose it.
Yeah.
And not only did he fuck up, he fucked up in 10 of the 12 weeks before that, too.
Straight.
So it's not like Cody Parkey, where he just hit the post. He was shit all year.
It's insane that you didn't bring somebody else in.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the free agents are good.
Yeah,
Ryan Suckup is out there. I know.
How was Robbie Gould not on our team?
How's Robbie Gould not on a team?
Right.
Insane.
But there's kicker injuries, I feel like, more than ever this year.
Yeah.
And teams just sign kickers and we're fine. They just, keep it moving. Mm-hmm. Lions did it. We had Chiefs did it, I think, for a minute.
The Texans had Daria Wale, and he would have done better than
That's true.
Anders Carlson, man.
Bro, bring in fucking Chad Johnson, who's better than Anders Carlson.
It's insane. There's no reason to ever draft a kicker, period. Just because, not that his money is massive or anything, but his contract's on the books.
Mm-hmm.
Assuming we move on from him, we're going to pay him still.
Well, and I mean, this past draft, who is the best kicker of the draft? Jake Moody. 49ers drafted him early. He's been
Yeah.
nothing if not shaky. So, I
You know,
mean, he hasn't exactly been great either.
well, Patriots have been so bad that people aren't talking about their rookie kicker.
Right.
He's like the worst out of all of them. He was
Yeah.
bad. It's insane. I don't know. And there's good free agent kickers coming up again too.
I'm really happy we drafted kicker because his brother was all right in the NFL.
Right. I mean, okay, so here's my question to you then. We know why we drafted Anders Carlson.
Mhm.
It's Rich Bisaccia.
Correct.
Yep.
So, I mean, clearly the blame's put on him, but what's that mean going forward? Is that a fireable offense?
Yeah, I think so. And maybe I'm overreacting, but I think so.
I don't disagree.
Yeah, I'd say so. I mean, there's a difference. I mean, saying you want guys for special teams is one thing, right? Like, hey, you know what? That's their goal. But like I've said, Anders Carlson has never been good at football. That's not an over exaggeration. So it's not like you can be like, oh, there were snap problems at Auburn, or there were, a lot of kicks were blocked. Like, he just is not accurate.
Yeah. How the fuck do the Cowboys find Brandon Aubrey and we get Anders Carlson?
People just didn't want to go after Brandon Aubrey. He was automatic in the USFL.
Like,
I don't get it.
Mason Crosby off of major surgery is miles better than Carlson. At least you know what. I mean, we're not having Carlson kick past 54 anyways. So who the fuck cares?
Fucking PFT commenter is better than Anders Carlson.
I mean, there's names though. Like, list them. And again, Packers cleared cap room and didn't use any money. So truly, the money wasn't the issue when the Packers were sitting with like $7 million of space.
Yep.
You could have signed Robbie Gould for $5 million for the playoffs.
Yep.
Like, that's fine. Not that would have been the contract, but there's people there. There's people available. Obviously, Anders Carlson will be in training camp next year because he has to be.
They spent draft capital on him.
Yeah, he's going to be in the kicking competition. We'll see what the Packers do to challenge him. Will the Packers bring in somebody else bad so Anders Carlson wins the competition and they hope the confidence boost changes things? That seems like a Packers thing. Do the Packers draft another one and fight fire with fire?
They can't.
That's possible. That's fun. I mean, that's if I'm going for chaos, I'd go with that route. Or do you bring in a vet and there's a million of them? Do what you got to do.
Like I said, how is Robbie Gould not on a team right now?
No idea. No, 49ers, if the 49ers make the Super Bowl and don't sign him,
crazy.
Fuck them.
Well,
like for all he's done for that franchise,
yeah,
he deserves a ring if they win.
Yep.
Like, these are upcoming. So obviously most of these are going to be signed, but Fairbairn, Lutz, Zerloin, Folk, Joseph, McManus, Sly, Bullock, McLaughlin, Dicker. They are all free agents in 2024 kicker.
Dude,
and that just 90% of those guys are going to re-sign with their teams. And that's not including guys who are still free agents now. That's insane.
I'd give anything to get Fairbairn in Green Bay.
Yes. However, Fairbairn's never kicked in elements.
He'd figure it out. It's better than Anders Carlson.
Yeah, of course. But like, there's people like Nick Folk, who's like only kicked in weather. Dicker. Not Dicker. There's a couple other ones that you said. But like, regardless, the Packers are obsessed with having the franchise guy. Like, they love the fact that Ryan Longwell was there forever. Mason Crosby was there forever. And that's why they don't want to just bring in like a veteran. There's an obsession over creating a player and like feeling like they did it for that player. Like, the player owes them. It's weird.
Trade Carlson in fifth for Chris Boswell right now.
Oh, that means
like free agents: Crosby, Suckup, Gould, Fat Randy, Zane Gonzalez, Brett Maher. I know Maher's had problems, but I mean, are we pressing him less than Carlson?
I mean, there's options. And again, we have the UFL to scout kickers. There's going to be kickers there.
So,
So
I guess, and not to end this conversation because I do enjoy it, but we're talking about Packers offseason. Are there number one fixes somewhere in the defense and kicker?
I would assume so. Like I would assume if you're saying what you need to fix, you got to fix kicker, you got to fix cornerback too, and you got to fix safety.
Yeah.
And assuming you get rid of Devondre Campbell, I feel like you can't rely on Isaiah McDuffie.
It's hard to believe that Isaiah McDuffie has a similar year to what he had this year.
Well, he's peaked, and I think he's a fine rotational guy, right?
Right.
Regardless, you need another linebacker. Correct. If he's starting, then who's behind him?
Fucking Zane Anderson's not doing anything at inside linebacker.
No. Like we need depth forever. That's my only issue with getting rid of Devondre Campbell. It's forever we talked about how there's zero depth at inside linebacker for the Packers, and now we have someone who's capable of starting, overpaid, didn't live up to expectations this year, 1,000%. However, who's the replacement? What's the alternative? And we've seen the alternative be very, very bad. So if we address it and, sign a good free agent and we draft somebody, then cool. But if we just rely on a 5th rounder that we draft in Isaiah McDuffie, then, I think we're going to be worse off.
I've said this multiple times on the show. It's just fucking crazy that Devondre Campbell sat 3 years out of the gate, 3 of the last 4 weeks he didn't want to play. All of a sudden, the Packers are in the playoff run and he plays. Like, what the fuck are we doing?
Felt better.
Yeah, fuck you.
Yeah. Especially after like his social media tirade.
Right.
How does he get to do that? And Jair does anything and he gets punished.
Bro, he did more than Aaron Rodgers. And Aaron Rodgers got how much more shit than Devondre Campbell?
Yeah. 1,000%. That makes no sense.
Jair is doing more than Aaron Rodgers. Nobody talking about Jair.
People are talking about Jair.
not Rodgers.
Oh, for sure. Rodgers is on a different spectrum. I mean, people will take that and run with it too.
That's my bias that Rodgers should still be on our team.
I mean, literally, like, I can't believe I'm saying this. Like, the Packers made Campbell in the sense that he was not really much of anything before. Like, don't get me wrong, he had good seasons, but like nobody really knew who the fuck he was. He got an All-Pro here.
I'm gonna disagree with that only because I said we should sign him because I think he would be good. I need to stand by that a little bit. He was a product of really bad defenses, though, to start his career.
Arizona,
to be fair,
Arizona and Atlanta, that's fair.
To be fair, but again, I mean, the entire time he's been here, he was really good against the run last year, and he just didn't. I don't know. He didn't trust his eyes this year. I'm not sure what he did. I still don't understand why everybody thinks he's really good against the pass. And like I've done, not to throw people under the bus, but like when I've done interviews with people on their shows, or if I hear other people interview their show, every time like people go to criticize Devondre Campbell, they say, well, I mean, he's good in coverage, but no, he's not. Exactly. Like he's not good at all. Exactly. What are people like take some person breaking down film poorly on Twitter and run with it as if it's gospel. And I don't even remember who did it. It might have been fucking Andy Herman. And if it was him, Jesus Christ, you think he knows anything?
You know who it probably fucking was? Ben Bitch Boy Fennell. That motherfucker who said Amari Rodgers was Randall Cobb. I still hate that man.
Hey, he had a point.
He had a point. Wasn't a good one, but he did. Yeah, I don't know. And by the way, Quay Walker also not good in coverage. Can't wait for that one to be a thing. It's weird. And again, a lot of it is scheme. A lot of it is teaching. For sure.
Just to circle it all back to Joe Barry here. I like the fact that like since Kay Adams had this tweet, like since Twitter's been invented, the Packers have been looking for a new defense coordinator. I think that's funny.
Yeah. It's funny in a way, but I mean, it's just another thing to add to what Wisconsin sports is. It's a cyclical thing. We talked about it on the Flurry Sports podcast that the Packers always will let you down. And it seemed like the Packers were going into a matchup where they couldn't let you down because people were saying, we're not supposed to be here. If we win, fuck you Niners. If we lose, hey, we beat the Cowboys. Who cares? And then all of a sudden we're winning. We're like, we're going to the Super Bowl. Everyone's hopes finally got like, everyone was like, yes, we're planning next week. And boom, Packers.
And you know the worst part about this is the Cowboys look kind of good from it too.
I I mean, I don't know. I don't know about that.
I shit you not, and maybe it's a fan of me talking, and not the football analyst. I was so confident that Green Bay was going to beat San Francisco in that game, and for the way to end up, like, usually Green Bay comes in as like, right, they're the favorite. They're going to come in like, the Packers do it, the Bucs do it, the Brewers have done it, Wisconsin basketball has done it, fucking Wisconsin football's done it. It was such a perfect Wisconsin sports summary of how every single fucking playoff game goes. I am so sick of fucking losing to the San Francisco fucking 49ers.
I know.
It is horrible.
And here's the thing, to anybody who says like, oh, you guys won 2 championships, you're not that bad. Anybody else would die to get the playoff appearances, yes. I would rather for like Bears fans being like, you don't know the struggle. You never have expectations. You don't. Right. You never think you're gonna win. You never ever think that. So like it happens every fucking time the same way, and they always choke. Always.
Yeah, I must have said on this show last time around this year that I hate that I have to hate the 49ers because I love all their players. I love everything about their team. They just beat the fucking piss out of the Packers every single play. It's
funny.
I hate it, man.
It's objectively very funny.
It is. It's the fucking Bills, the AFC. It fucking sucks, man.
George Kittle goes on McAfee and talked his shit on the Packers and
go Pack,
go the fuck home. For sure. It was so funny. It was just asking where Ty is, that he just flips off the camera.
I saw someone, like, he talked about it and Matt Schneidman tweeted about it. And someone's like, oh, yeah, well, we beat the 49ers in week 3 2 years ago. Like, the whole fucking both teams weren't totally different back then.
Also, who cares?
Right.
It's just also, like the Bills beat the Chiefs in the regular season every time.
Right.
But when they play the postseason, guess what? Everybody knows is happening.
Right.
Like the Chiefs are going to win.
I think they beat us in the playoffs that year, and they also almost came back with fucking Trey Lance just dicking around. So, yeah, that's not great.
But the only thing I will say, Niners are great. I respect them. I like almost all their players. I don't understand why anybody thought Brock Purdy played well.
Yep.
I don't know why I got shit on and other people got shit. He played terrible.
Dude, I agree with you. And I'm a Purdy fan. I like Purdy as a quarterback, but he did not play a very good football game that game.
This isn't me saying he's a bad quarterback, but he played terrible.
Yep. There should have been 4 passes that were intercepted in that game, and they weren't.
Yeah.
And the thing is, if Savage pick 6 is that one, and he has to pass to win, it's going to be even worse, in my opinion. It would have been even worse for him. He would have been even more bad.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. It was weird. Anything else to really say about the game? I think Jordan Love should buy Anders Carlson something nice.
Yeah, certainly. Anders Carlson definitely taking the rap for Jordan Love's bad game.
No one even knows Jordan Love threw an interception to lose the game.
Yeah, no one even knows that Jordan Love played the worst game of his career in this game.
If you ask somebody next year, start of the year, everyone will say Anders Carlson missed the game winner.
Yeah.
Because that's what everyone's saying.
12 left to come back and win that game.
Yeah.
And he's learned nothing since the Raiders game.
Yeah, I
nothing.
I agree.
Across your body to the middle of the field in double coverage, the fuck do you think you are?
Yeah, and I agree with you 100%, Trevor. And I'm a Jordan Love fan, probably more than you guys on the show. But, like, that was a Favre interception. Like, it was fucking horrible. I get he's a young guy, whatever. But that was, like, that's the worst pass in NFL history.
It kind of just shows that, like, he's running the scheme really well. Like, he's running the offense really well, but then when he has to be a football player and do it himself, he just doesn't have that yet.
Yep.
And that's not me saying he will never have it. I have my opinions, whatever. He's not there yet. So I guess credit to LaFleur because his scheme was certainly working down the stretch. Again, I think he just imitated the 49ers, and I think 80% of the credit should go to Aaron Jones.
Always.
He set up everything.
Aaron Jones is an all-time Packer.
Yes. I would love just to have a look into an alternate universe where AJ Dillon was just active for the past month and just see how big of a difference.
I'd love an alternate universe where Aaron Jones' bitch ass runs straight against the 49ers 2 years ago.
Nah, it's fine. He can do what he wants.
To transition us into I'm guessing we're going to talk about offseason a little bit here. to transition us into the offseason, I love that people are talking about, like, the Packers are all 25 years old. They have a future. I heard that same thing in 2011, and we did not win a Super Bowl since then. What the fuck are we talking about?
Again, I mean, it's great to have a bunch of young guys.
Yep.
You know, it's better to have a mix of young guys and veterans.
You know what's better? To have good players on the team.
That too. Hey, Packers have 8 first-rounders. Don't ask if the first-rounders are good. Just say where they were drafted, because there's never, ever been a first-rounder that's been bad.
Right.
Well, on top of that, what's his name? Is it Dare Carragher? Dare? However you say his first name.
Google Wally.
Packers writer.
Oh, isn't he like 4?
Yeah, he is.
He's not a writer. Continue.
Whatever he is.
What did he say? I think I've muted him.
But he had a tweet, and he was right. Like, the Packers were unlucky against the 49ers, but, like, Panthers were one spike away from tying that game and probably being overtime. Quentin Johnston dropped a touchdown that should have beat the Packers, like an easy pass in his hands that should have beat the Packers. They barely beat the fucking Saints. They needed a lot of things to go their way to win. They barely beat the Chiefs. And I'm not saying, like, they shouldn't have barely won, but, like, let's not act like this team wasn't also extremely lucky to even be here. Like, if Kirk Cousins is healthy, the Vikings beat him.
Well, I told you guys, like, in one of the games, like, literally every game the Packers played this year, there was a key injury on the other team.
The Chiefs' whole defense got hurt.
The Chiefs lost 2 fucking linebackers in, like, 2 plays. It's wild.
Nick Bolt did play, so they were on their 4th stringer.
I 100% agree with you guys. I'm on record saying that whatever, all it takes is a win, whatever. But, yeah, I agree with you guys.
I mean, they were lucky. They also benefited from having arguably the easiest schedule in the
league. I 100% agree with that, but I don't think that, like, I think Bo Belton's a dog. I think the tight ends are dogs. And I think Dante Lewis is a dog.
Yes. Again, I think they're all extremely talented. They're all raw.
Right.
So, like, they could develop into a great player, but they need people to develop them.
It would be incredible if we had Aaron Rodgers right now.
Yep. Sure would. They need a better coaching staff. Honestly, the only good coach, in my personal opinion, is the quarterback's coach. And Luke Buckus. I think he did a good job with the offensive line, and he started to get, a little bit more say from OC, Stenovich, by the end of the year.
We also need to get off this. Like, everyone's giving Brian Gutekunst flowers right now. Sure, great. You drafted a really young team. This team had the same record as the team last year.
Well, I mean, I think that should be viewed as an accomplishment. I think it's a better team.
Yeah, it's certainly a better team
around the quarterback. But this is the issue. You can't just take rookies that were forced to have a shit ton of playing time and just be like, hey, look at their raw stats and compare them to X player who didn't play all those snaps.
Right.
Like, of course they caught passes. They were on the field. They had to. There's nobody else. I think he didn't. Clearly, he had a decent draft class.
Yeah, I agree.
Right?
100%.
Like, this isn't me saying that, but, like, we can't just take raw stats of players who played every fucking snap and be like, hey, look, they performed something.
How anyone is giving flowers to Brian Gutekunst after how many people trashed Ted Thompson is crazy.
It's insane.
Well, and on top of that, I mean, there's more things here than drafting. I mean, contracts, he's bundled when he's restructured them in the past. I mean, that's a small thing now, but, like, free agency. I mean, I know the Packers have kind of had cap issues and nobody wants to play in Green Bay, but Jesus Christ, he hasn't done shit there either. Like, it's not just the draft and that's it. No trades.
Again, before the season, I said Jordan Love could become great. That's fine. Yep. I hope he does. That's great.
He's going to get a 5-year contract next year, and he's going to be the quarterback for five more years.
And again, because of that, and because of the contract situation of everybody else, the age of everybody else, this year and next season, will be the championship window.
Correct.
So we better win next year, because then after that, shit hits the fan.
Better not lose 8 games next year, Brian Gutekunst, is all I'm saying.
Yeah. The schedule gets tougher. Tape is out.
We play the fucking Dolphins. That's going to be 50-0.
Yeah, our schedule is fucked next year. It's not good for us.
The division's for sure going to be better.
Correct.
There's no doubt.
Oh, yeah.
Like, yeah, it's going to be tough. And I guess key free agents, I'll just say that we don't need to go into depth because we'll do that at a different show. But key free agents, parentheses or quotes around key. We got Josh Nijman. Hopefully he's gone. Keyshawn Nixon, who certainly seems like he wants to come back. Darnell Savage. AJ Dillon. Eric Wilson, who I'm a big fan of. Josiah DeGuara, he's still on the team. Tyler Davis, who is definitely coming back.
Get him out of here.
Goot loves him. That was the leader of the team.
Yeah, sure was.
Need I remind you? John Runyon.
Yeah, can go either way on him.
Zane Anderson.
Get him out of here.
Key guys. Bo Melton.
He's
exclusive, right? So he'll be back.
Yep.
Then punter as well.
Get him out of here.
So, I mean, truthfully, you look at that and be like, hey, there aren't very many. There's not going to be losses. Pretty much everyone's back, right?
Yep.
So, what's that tell you? To me, it means Packers are going to be very comfortable.
Yep. It's another 9-8 season to me.
I mean, they're just not going to make moves. The whole offseason is going to be figuring out who to get rid of, figuring out which contracts to eat, trying to restructure some stuff.
Is there any chance David Bakhtiari is on the team next year?
I don't think so. I mean, he would have to really, really restructure his deal because he's restructured his deal 3-4 times because he kept clearing up money for the Packers and the Packers never used it.
Yeah. Let me rephrase that question. Is there any chance David Bakhtiari is on any other team than the Jets next year?
Yeah. I mean, if he straight up gets cut, which I think he will, he is still an all-pro. He's still one of the best tackles. And the only thing we truly know about the NFL this year is that if you don't have a good offensive line, you're fucked. Yeah. Because most teams don't. So, I mean, if I'm him, I'm chasing the money, especially given, like, I've seen my knee flare up. I don't know if I can make it through another season. Let's get this guaranteed cash and cross our fingers.
Dude, imagine him as the right tackle on the Ravens next to Ronnie Stanley.
I mean, imagine him being the tackle for the Chiefs.
Right. Instead of Jawan Taylor. Right. Correct.
Like, there's so many teams we could do that with. It's just right tackle opposite Trent Williams. That would be great. All I know is he's definitely going to go to a place with grass.
Has to. Yeah, so probably just probably out of that.
Yeah, so we can narrow it down, I guess.
Damn, I wanted him on Detroit.
Fuck Detroit.
Yeah. I think he hates that field more than any other. Yeah. So if he did that, I would lose a little respect for him, to be honest. It'd be funny, but yeah. But yeah, so Packers don't have very many free agents. Obviously, safety for sure needs to get figured out. Safety is so tough to fill too. Like, it almost has to be through the draft, which hit or miss. I don't know. It'll be an interesting offseason. We'll see what the Packers do at RB2.
Like I said before our show, and let's talk through. Like, talk to me if I'm wrong about this. Everyone's hammering for Cameron Kitchen from Miami. I like James Williams a little bit more. If you guys know anything about him.
Oh, I like them both. I mean, we'll get into the draft coverage a little bit more. People are fully saying we don't need tackle now, which I think is wrong.
Zach Tom needs to move to interior linebacker or interior lineman.
If we can get a really solid right tackle, I think Rasheed Walker's fine at left tackle. I still don't think he's the long-term solution. Obviously, an interior of Jenkins, Myers, Tom, Runyon.
But Zach, even Jenkins, Meyer, Tom, that's one of the best in the NFL.
Yeah, for sure. Or Jenkins, Tom, Ryan.
Yeah.
Sean Ryan. Yeah, for sure. Zach Tom's an all-pro guard if he switched to guard. He's not a tackle. He's playing well at tackle, but he's not a tackle.
Yeah.
He is playing as good as he can play. He just has some physical limitations that can't get around.
That's another thing with the Packers offense kind of tapered off after Zach Tom left the game.
Yeah, I mean, that's why I want to resurface everything everyone's ever said about Josh Nijman.
Yeah, correct. We're talking to you, Sam Decker.
Did he say something? I don't even remember Sam saying something.
Decker, like 3 years ago, said Josh Nijman's the best backup in the NFL.
I know.
Sam Becker with a bad football take, crazy.
I like Decker, man. Leave him out of this.
He's
but
a
like,
dude.
fuck you. I like him. I like him. I have
His
personal
dad's a
stake in
dick,
Sam
too.
Decker.
Fuck that
Yes,
guy.
Huge dick, but funny. I think All Cheesehead TV really like Nyman. They were pushing for Bakhtiari to get cut before, just so Nyman can play left tackle. And I want to say, dig up any segment from this show from that time. We stood by. He's dog shit.
Yep.
And the only reason he didn't get more hate is because Royce Newman is a person who existed.
Always on the team, man.
And by the way, people like Royce Newman as well.
Sure
that was a Brian Gutekunst golden nugget in the 5th round or whatever that people were saying. Like, what a good. He drafted a starter. Okay, you can start anybody you want.
Also,
he's not good.
I just want to go back to the fact that when he was drafted in the 5th round, this motherfucker did not have a picture on a draft profile. You know how many draft profiles they have on ESPN? If they do not have a picture of you, you are dog shit or you are from D3.
Well, he's dog shit, yeah, because he wasn't D3. But Packers said they drafted him for his Senior Bowl, and it was the worst Senior Bowl I've ever seen from an offensive lineman. That's a blatant lie. There's no way Brian Gutekunst is that bad at his job.
No.
Like maybe he is, but there's no shot. He lost almost every single snap.
Here's what we're gonna do for our draft coverage. We're gonna hype up the players like we usually do. We're gonna hype up one player that sucks, and we're not gonna say who. And we're gonna see if Gutekunst drafts him, because if you watch our draft coverage last year and then who the Packers drafted, pretty close the last 2 years.
I mean, yeah, it's every year. I don't know. I don't know.
I do want to say that I know we're talking. I'm not gonna say we're talking a lot of shit about the Packers, but we're kind of down on what the team has been. This was an overachieving year,
for sure.
Yeah,
for sure. To our demise.
Well, but to that point, overachieving year. What does that mean? It means absolutely nothing.
It means we pick in the middle of the round.
We have the 25th draft pick of the NFL draft.
Woo! It would be nice to get a game changer, but that's fine. I mean, the Packers are drafting in the spot that they like to draft. They have drafted a lot. They're drafted in the spot of the 1st round where nobody wants to draft.
Yep.
They are unable to trade backwards because there aren't any players there good enough. They all have the same grade from essentially, it changes every draft, but like from 20 or like from 15 all the way to like 45, they're all the same player. So, which also is why it's puzzling when the Packers are in that position and then they trade up 2 spots and stuff like that,
Yep.
Not gonna. Jordan
I agree. You guys have, I kind of teased it on our fantasy football show. Just for awards, you guys have like best offense player, best defense player, breakout player, anything like that?
Offense, definitely Aaron Jones. Defense, definitely Kenny Clark.
Yep. My breakout player is Dontavian Wicks.
Yeah, breakout for sure. If you're allowed to give it to a rookie.
Just as a point of that, absolutely nobody had any idea who he was, and now he's probably just a household name.
Should be.
Yeah.
I mean, he's arguably the most skilled of the receivers.
Like, he's not nearly as good as a route runner as Davante Adams, but he's the best route runner since Davante Adams.
He's the only one who can create separation. Yeah, he's good. Most improved, I don't even know.
Like, it's got to be Isaiah McDuffie,
He's up there. He's always been solid. He's just maybe Rasheed Walker.
Yeah. Devontae Wyatt.
I mean, maybe he's just a mini Rashawn Gary. He just picks a side and is athletic.
I'll throw my bone for TJ Slayton just because I like him.
Hey, he did some good stuff this year for sure.
Yep.
And again, I don't think he's the answer long term, but compared to what we were talking about 3 months ago, maybe Josh Myers played pretty well.
I don't think John Runyon played bad this year either.
No, as good as someone who rotates every other drive can play.
Yep.
which it is what it is. It's like every if you're a basketball person, like let's every stoppage, let's take the player out, and then the next stoppage, let's put them back in. Let's see if they develop a rhythm.
Let's take our 3-and-D guy out and put it on the next 3-and-D guy.
It's just constant rotation. It's a hockey line. Let's just keep cycling it. It's insane. So stupid.
Hockey line, Pat Connaughton and AJ Green. Shocker. They both suck.
Fair enough. Anything else before we get out of here?
No, I don't think so. Little Bucks talk. Why the fuck did they hire Doc Rivers?
I like Doc.
Spoiler alert. I don't think Doc Rivers was to blame. And if he wins a championship, Giannis is now the best player of all time. I do not make the rules.
I'm a Doc guy.
Come on.
He waved to me once. I like Doc.
All right. You get the person.
I like Doc, man. I'm stoked. I wanted Rivers first, but I like Doc.
Bro hasn't won anything since 2008. What are we doing?
What a team, though.
He had
one of my favorite basketball teams.
100%.
Bro, he had broke-ass Ben Simmons, James Harden. Nothing's ever going to work from that. All right? Dude. And then we go back to the Clippers. Dude, Chris Paul and Blake Griffin hated each other, and he thought he'd win with DeAndre Jordan at fucking center.
They were MVP candidates, Chris Paul and Blake Griffin.
Not correctly, though.
With Doc, does he bring Sam Cassell with him?
Oh, I would love it.
Where is he? Because I like Sam Cassell.
I gotta look up Sam Cassell right now.
Close your eyes. The ugliest motherfucker you'll ever see.
For sure.
And the weirdest voice, but he could ball.
I think Doc Rivers has the weirdest voice.
Not listen to Sam Cassell. It's different.
So that's not
Boston.
So the thing that's good about Doc is we get him off of TV. And Trevor, I text you that, but you can't have Doc Rivers on TV.
Then shit, we should hire Doris Burke because her bitch ass shouldn't be saying shit.
No.
Dude, she sucks Boston's dick so hard it's got to be chafed. It's insane. She literally cries about Tatum. It's disgusting.
She does.
Whoever greenlighted Doris Burke to be the ABC color commentator over Jeff Van Gundy and Mark Jackson should be hanged.
Love Jeff Van Gundy. We should hire both Van Gundys too.
Yeah, agree.
Put them on the bench.
Stan's a goat.
We need Jeff, Bill Walton, and that old fuck Marv Albert who just talks out of his ass. We need all of them on one thing to just see how many different conversations we get.
I don't know. Like, if we're talking about like sports lore, sports announcing, Bill Walton doing 10 o'clock Pac-12 games might be the best sports announcing of all time.
It's
for the first 5 minutes. And then after that, you fucking hate him.
No, I love Bill Walton, man.
A core childhood memory of mine was him announcing a Houston Rockets game. And when Yao Ming scored, he went on the GDP of China and talking about how much rice they export per year for too long. It was the most racist thing I've ever seen in my life, but it was incredible.
It was so long, Yao got subbed out and subbed back in at the same time.
For sure. It was the first quarter. It was the whole quarter.
The best Bill Walton thing I ever heard is he was announcing a White Sox game with Jason Benetti, and he was so totally rooting for the White Sox, right? And it was like a White Sox preseason game. Like, who the fuck even cares about it, right? And they hit a pop fly, and the White Sox hit a white pop fly, and he goes, drop it on the air. It was so goddamn funny.
He's so good. Is he still doing Pac-12 games this year?
Oh yeah, him and Sean McDonough. Like, how does Sean McDonough deal with that? I don't know, but more glory to him.
I need to look up his like broadcasting schedule.
Yeah.
I should get Henry to write that again. That was actually one of my favorite articles ever on Flurry Sports because it was so useful.
Every single game he put on there, I watched.
Incredible.
All right. Well.
Okay. Well, you have that to look forward to, Packers fans. Just go look up some Bill Walton.
Well, I will say, Packer fans, I'm sure you're Wisconsin basketball fans. I wrote in this article, I think that this Wisconsin team is the best team since the Final Four team, so they should be fun to watch.
Yeah. I mean, they'll be there. They'll get your hopes up.
Yep.
So schedule for Lombardi. I'd like to do more off-season stuff than we did last year, just so y'all know. I'm guessing next week we won't have a show. Week after that, we may have an award to announce.
Ooh.
I don't know when they're announcing that award. It might be after that. So stay tuned. But we'll do free agency stuff. We'll do plenty of draft stuff. Maybe we'll do a show in 2 weeks or whatever to talk about the award and about the new defensive coordinator hiring. That makes sense.
Yep.
But if there's anything else you guys want from us, definitely let us know. The best way to do so, I would say, is to go over to the Lombardi Sweep Facebook group or Facebook page, which has been growing, and I appreciate it. We're, I think, getting close to 2,000 followers over there. So I think it's Lombardi Sweep Show is the handle or whatever. So definitely go over there. Let us know anything and everything you want us to do. We will do it. And we'll be back soon with an award later.